The trailer's pushing you to think this movie is simple. The New Republic hires Din and Grogu, they go hunt down Imperial Remnants, roll credits. But the second you look at what else they're showing us, the Hutts, Rotta in that arena, Embo showing up like a straight-up hitman, it stops feeling like a clean mission movie and starts feeling like a power grab. Because I think the real plot isn't take out a few leftover Imperials. I think it's a race to control the underworld. And if that sounds dramatic, it should, because in this era, the Remnants don't win by rolling in with Star Destroyers. They win by getting the right allies, funding the right chaos, and turning the galaxy messy enough that the New Republic can't hold it together.
Long live the Empire.
So by the end of this video, I'm going to lay out what I think the villain twist actually is, why Rotta matters way more than people are assuming, and how the Hutts might be the bridge that turns scattered remnants into the start of the next war. Because if I'm right, Din and Grogu aren't being sent to finish the Empire, they're being sent to stop the Empire from getting its hands on something even more dangerous: influence. Buckle up, because once you see the move that's being played here, the whole trailer reads completely differently. So before we jump in, don't forget to leave a thumbs up on today's video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Drop some high points too, it helps the channel out and it's greatly appreciated. Alright, with that out of the way, let's get into it.
What are you waiting for?
Alright, so this second trailer doesn't just look better than the first one, it's clearer about what kind of movie this is trying to be. And it starts with a really important signal. Din and Grogu aren't drifting from job to job anymore. They're being pulled into New Republic business. You've got that clean military rhythm. X-Wings landing at what looks like a Delphi base. Din's N1 sitting in the same space like he belongs there now. And the whole thing feels a little less like Bounty Hunter on the edge of the map and more like asset being deployed.
It's a good deal and you know it.
Is that so?
And then Sigourney Weaver's character frames the stakes in a way that instantly changes how you read everything. This isn't revenge, this is prevention. That line matters because it suggests the New Republic has finally started to accept what it refused to accept in other stories. The threat didn't disappear, it just got quieter. Now, the trailer immediately contrasts that clean New Republic side with something that feels dangerous in a completely different way. Din asking about their Hutts and getting shut down so hard, the guy literally closes up the shop. And just to be clear, the Martin Scorsese thing is real. Lucasfilm have confirmed it now. Anyways, the scene is doing its job perfectly. It's telling you people don't even want to say Hutts out loud. And then right between those two worlds, you get the Remnants, presented once again as organized, not random. Just as we saw him with the Shadow Council in Mando Season 3. Then Embo shows up, and that's the moment the trailer starts whispering, this isn't just a mission, because you don't bring a bounty hunter like that into live action unless somebody wants a problem removed. So if you zoom out, the trailer isn't giving us random ingredients, it's giving us a pattern. New Republic pressure, underworld fear, remnant organization, and a hired blade entering the story at the exact moment that Din's life is supposed to be stable. And the question then becomes, why would the New Republic really need Din at all, unless they think the next threat isn't going to look like an exact copy of the last one? Because that's where the tension in the whole trailer and the story really starts climbing. And now, here's what I think is happening under the surface. The New Republic actually hiring Din isn't because he's the strongest guy in the room. They've got Luke Skywalker. It's because he's useful in the one kind of conflict the New Republic can't publicly admit it's fighting yet. The Remnants can't just announce themselves, not in this era. They don't have the same open control. And if they start moving like the old Empire, the galaxy rallies against them and instantly they're gone. So the smarter play is to rebuild sideways, let someone else take the heat, let someone else move the money, let someone else control the ground. And nothing gives you leverage faster than the underworld, because if you can steer crime syndicates, you can steer resources, information, you can make worlds unstable without ever planting an Imperial banner over it. You can make the New Republic look pretty incompetent without firing a single laser. And that's why the Hutt twins suddenly matter again. We've already seen them try to step back into Jabba's shadow, and the moment real resistance shows up, they backed off. Now, that wasn't weakness. That was actually calculation. They know they can't win a straight-up turf war on reputation alone. So, if they're making moves now in a period where power has shifted away from them, then they either found a way to tip the scales or they found someone who can. And the Remnants are the perfect partner for that kind of deal. The twins want the throne, the Remnants want the influence, and both of them benefit if the galaxy starts slipping into chaos again, which makes Rotta's situation feel less like a random set piece and more like the pressure point. Because if the heir is compromised, the claim changes hands. And if that's true, then Din walking into this isn't him stumbling into a Hutt problem, it's him stepping into a war over who gets to control the galaxy without officially declaring one. And that's where the twist lands, because if the underworld is the shortcut back to power, then the Hutt cartel isn't just a background faction in the movie. It's the lever that changes the entire balance of this era.
I know that you are powerful, mighty Jabba.
And that's why I don't think Din's role here is as simple as go fight the Hutts. What if he's being used to protect the one piece that stops the Remnants from turning the cartel into their engine? What if Rotta isn't really the villain at all? What if Rotta's actually the key? Because look at how the trailer positions everything. The New Republic is talking about preventing another war, the Remnants are shown as structured, the Hutts are shown as feared, and Rotta is shown in a situation that screams, someone is controlling him. If the twins can push him aside, they don't just take the throne, they become the cartel's face. And if the Remnants can back that move, they don't just gain credits and smugglers, they gain access to a whole web of factions that follow Hutt influence when the Hutts are strong. So suddenly this isn't a hunt, it's a race, and here's the part that starts to make it all click together. If the New Republic believes the twins are about to become the cartel, what's the fastest way to stop it without lighting up the Senate with a messy political debate?
Imperial Remnant. Such a sensational term.
You don't send fleets, you don't send politicians to negotiate, you send Din Djarin, you send the guy who can move through the underworld without announcing the New Republic is panicking. Let's not forget, Din isn't on the New Republic books, and better yet, you send him with Grogu, because Grogu's the wild card that changes outcomes when everything really goes sideways. And so yeah, if that's the mission, if the real play is to get Rotta out from under the twins' control, then the arena scene isn't proof that Rotta's the enemy. It's proof that Din is being forced into the middle of the cartel's succession fight. Which means the next question isn't can Din win a fight, it's can he get Rotta out of there alive before the Remnants turn this into a full-scale comeback. So yeah, if the movie's building toward a new war, and it most likely is, then the Remnants don't just need weapons, they need legitimacy, reach, and a way to stretch the Republic thin. Because Rotta isn't valuable just because he's a Hutt. He's valuable because he's the symbol the cartel can unify around. And if Din gets Rotta out of the twins' grip, Rotta becomes leverage, not a hostage in the classic sense, but a living chess piece that changes who the cartel follows. And that instantly makes Din's path more dangerous than any take out this remnant cell mission that he could possibly go on, because now he's escorting the one thing everyone wants to control. And you can feel how that would play on Din emotionally, because this is the exact nightmare he keeps on living time and time again. He builds a pocket of peace, and then the galaxy seems to always drag him back into a mess that threatens the one person that he cares about the most. This is also where Grogu becomes little more than just a cute sidekick. Grogu changes the math in situations like this. He's unpredictable, we know he's powerful, and he draws attention to himself like gravity just for being a little Yoda, which is great when you need a miracle, but terrifying when the wrong people realize what he actually is. And here's the real spike in the middle of it all. What happens if the remnants aren't just trying to control the cartel? What happens if they're trying to use the cartel as cover while they prepare their real move? That's the part that would explain why the trailer keeps escalating from underworld problem to organized conflict vibes so quickly, because if the cartel starts shifting, factions react, systems destabilize, and the New Republic has to respond across multiple fronts. And in that chaos, the remnants get the space they need to breathe. So Din rescuing Rotta doesn't just change the underworld, it changes the galaxy's ability to resist what's coming next. And that leaves one nasty thread hanging. If Rotta really is this hinge point, then why is a hunter like Embo showing up at all? Unless someone's decided Din can't be allowed to complete the move. But yeah, here's where it gets really interesting, because Embo doesn't just feel like he belongs to the Hutt storyline. He feels like he belongs to the Stop Din storyline. So the question isn't just who hired him, it's why they're willing to spend that kind of muscle on removing Din specifically. And I'll be honest, that's the detail that makes this feel bigger than a simple cartel dispute, because Embo is the kind of character you bring in when you want the audience to understand instantly that Din is being hunted by someone who knows exactly what they're doing. So who benefits most from Din being taken off the board? Is it the twins because Din threatens their claim and their control? I mean, that's possible, but what if it's the remnants? Because Din has already proven he's the worst kind of enemy possible. The guy who walks into a fractured situation and somehow turns it into a unified front against him. That's the scary version, and we need to ask, why would the remnants gamble on brute force when their whole strategy is supposed to be subtle? Here's the thing, we need to be open here about the possibility that Embo isn't actually there to win a single fight at all. He could be there just to delay Din long enough for the cartel to tip the wrong way, because if Din slowed down in what he needs to do, if Rotta stays compromised, if the twins go on to consolidate power, the remnants don't need to conquer anything. They inherit influence, and that's pretty brutal when you think about it. Din finally gets a version of stability in his life, and the price of keeping it might be stepping into a war where every move he makes plants a bigger target on not only his, but also Grogu's back.
Do we run? Or do we fight?
So, if this theory is right, and I think it is, Embo isn't the main villain. He's the blade that proves someone bigger is there pulling the strings. And once you realize that, the movie stops being so much a Din versus remnants and starts being a Din versus a greater plan. A plan that uses the underworld to rebuild an Imperial future without declaring one. So heading into the final stretch before the movie arrives, here's what I want you watching for as the marketing ramps up. Do they keep framing Rotta like a threat, or do they keep him just ambiguous enough that it feels like he's being used? Because that difference tells you what the real story is. So yeah, what I love about this trailer is that it's loud enough to sell you the big screen spectacle, but it's also quietly planting the kind of story mechanics that actually justify why this is a movie and not just another season. If the plot really is control the cartel, control the chaos, then suddenly everything clicks into place. The New Republic accepting Din's offer to work for him is really about trying to make a move without admitting that they're scared. The remnants aren't just surviving, they're trying to position themselves. And the Hutts, they're not there for fan service. They're the shortcut back to power. And here's the thing that keeps sticking with me here. If Rotta really is the hinge point, then the arena isn't about Din defeating a Hutt. It's about Din realizing he's standing in the middle of that succession war that could decide who the underworld answers to for many years. My personal take is this. The villain twist isn't that Embo is secretly good or the twins are secretly innocent. It's that the real villain is the strategy. The remnants using influence as a weapon and using the underworld really as a delivery system. And if that's what this movie is setting up, then we're not just watching Din and Grogu hop off onto another adventure. We're watching the first domino of this next era fall. Now here's the question I want you to answer in the comments. Do you think Rotta ends this movie as a reluctant ally that the New Republic protects? Or do you think he walks out of it as the next major crime lord the galaxy has to deal with? As always, drop your thoughts, theories, and wildest speculations down in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out our full breakdown of the trailer, which is now live on the channel. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one, and may the Force be with you.